The personality in your veins. Sounds a little weird, right? But what if your personality isn't just a product of your experiences, but of something you were born with? Something that's literally flowing through you right now. Well, today, we're gonna dive right into that exact idea.
So, you know your blood type, right? Of course you do. But do you know your blood personality? Yeah, you heard me. You know if you're A, B, AB, or O. It's a super important piece of medical info. But what if that one little letter could tell you a whole lot more about who you really are?
Because the answer to that question, well, it might literally be flowing through your veins. The whole idea we're digging into here is that the stuff that makes you, isn't just in your head. It might actually have a biological blueprint, one that's tied directly to your blood. Okay, so let's get into it. For most of us, blood type is something you only think about when it comes to, a transfusion or donating blood. But this theory, it suggests its main job is way, way deeper than that it actually has a direct line right into our minds. See, the science of blood type, according to this, goes far beyond just transfusions. It connects directly to your brain's chemistry. The main idea is that your blood type isn't just about all the technical stuff like antigens and antibodies. No, it has a deep, fundamental link to your neurochemistry. We're talking about the very chemicals that control your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. So how could this possibly work? I mean, your brain on blood, it sounds kind of wild, doesn't it? How can something in your veins really influence what you're thinking? Well, it all comes down to some really fascinating science. It all hinges on this thing called the blood-brain barrier. Now, most of us picture it as this solid, impenetrable wall, right? But it's not. It's actually more like a really, really picky bouncer at a club. It's a filter, and it lets certain chemical components from your blood pass right on through. And those components directly influence which key chemicals get produced inside your brain. And two of the biggest players in this story are dopamine, you can think of that as your motivation molecule, and cortisol, which is basically the stress hormone. And here's the kicker. Different blood types seem to have totally different starting levels for these chemicals. Okay, for example, get this. The baseline dopamine production for type O folks versus everyone else, the source material says that people with type O blood produce, on average, about 20% more dopamine. Right there, that's a completely different neurochemical starting point from the get-go. And it's not just about the chemicals floating around. Brain scans apparently show real, measurable, physical differences. We're talking brain structure. So type O people, they tend to have larger amygdalas. That's the brain's emotional hub. Meanwhile, type A people show more action in the prefrontal cortex, the part that handles all the planning and decision-making. So what does all this mean in the real world? You've got these chemical differences, these structural differences. How does that actually play out? Well, this is where we get to the 4 blood personalities. The theory maps everything we just talked about onto 4 really distinct, predictable profiles. Let's break them down. You've got type O, right? Higher dopamine, so they're often seen as natural leaders, but they can be pretty impatient. Then there's type A, higher cortisol. This often translates to being super detail-oriented, but also kinda anxious. Type B is described as more balanced, which can lead to a ton of creativity, but also unpredictability. And finally, type AB. Their chemistry fluctuates, so they end up being this really complex mix of all the other patterns. Okay, so this might all sound like a really cool theory, right? Fun party conversation. But it's not just some abstract idea. We're gonna look at putting this theory into practice, because in some places, it's being used to make some pretty major real-world decisions. And I mean, seriously, some corporations in Japan have actually made this a part of their hiring process, like a real metric. They'll actively look for type O people for executive jobs because they want those leadership traits. And for jobs that need a ton of attention to detail, like accounting, they're looking for type A's. And the success rate they claim is, well, just look at this number. It's pretty staggering. 90%. They claim 90% accuracy in predicting job performance based on this. So to them, this is not just some quirky little cultural thing. It's a full-on data-driven strategy. And look, it's not just what some companies are saying. There's been more rigorous testing too. Check out this number, 73%. In a blind study of 3,000 people, researchers were able to correctly guess their blood type just from their personality alone, 73% of the time. I mean, that is way, way better than just random chance. So when you take a step back and look at all this, the brain chemistry, the actual physical structures, these real-world applications, it all points to a pretty profound conclusion. It's about your blueprint, the one you've had since birth. The big implication here, it's that your personality isn't just something shaped by your experiences. It's not just your environment or the choices you make. The idea is that it has been influenced by your blood type since the moment you were born, that there's a biological blueprint, a neurochemical predisposition that's been shaping who you are from day one. And that leaves us with a really big question to think about. I mean, if your neurochemistry has a lifelong blueprint, what does that change about how you see yourself? If your core tendencies, how you handle stress, what gets you out of bed in the morning, if all that is influenced by a biological blueprint you've had forever, does that change how you look at your biggest strengths? Or maybe even your biggest challenges?